Somewhere in your DNA is a story almost no one knows. 70,000 years ago, something happened that nearly erased every human being on Earth. Not a war, not a disease, not a slow decline. One event, sudden, catastrophic, and we almost didn't survive it. Today, there are 8 billion of us. We cover every continent. We've been to space. We've mapped the ocean floor. But for one brief moment in history, we were almost gone. Not reduced, not struggling, almost completely wiped out. To understand what happened, you need to go back, way back, 70,000 years ago. Every human being on Earth lived in Africa. That's it. One continent, one species, small scattered groups moving across the savannah. No cities, no agriculture, no writing, just small bands of people, fire, stone tools, each other. They had survived ice ages, predators, famine. They were tough, adaptable, resilient, and they had no idea what was coming. It started on an island they had never seen, Sumatra, Southeast Asia. Beneath the ground, something had been building for centuries. A supervolcano. Not a regular volcano, not even a large one. A supervolcano. Approximately 74,000 years ago, give or take a few thousand years, Mount Toba erupted, the largest volcanic eruption in the last 2 million years. The eruption that destroyed Pompeii? Toba was 5,000 times larger. Mount St. Helens? Not even close. Toba released so much material into the atmosphere that it didn't just affect the local region, it affected the entire planet. Within days, ash began falling across South Asia. Not light ash, not a dusting. In some areas, ash deposits reached 6 meters deep. Everything beneath it, plants, animals, water sources, buried. But the ash was only the beginning. The real killer was what came next. Toba ejected billions of tons of sulfur dioxide into the stratosphere, up high, above the clouds, above the weather, where it couldn't be rained out, where it stayed and spread around the entire planet. The sulfur dioxide formed a thick, reflective haze across the upper atmosphere. Sunlight hitting Earth bounced back into space. Less warmth, less growth. This is called a volcanic winter. And Toba triggered the worst one in human history. Global temperatures dropped somewhere between 3 and 15 degrees Celsius. The difference between today's climate and the last ice age? About 6 degrees. Toba may have pushed the planet close to that, almost overnight. For years, possibly a decade, the sun was weaker. Plants died, animals that ate plants died, animals that ate those animals died, and humans who depended on all of it starved. This is where the story gets almost unbelievable. When scientists map human genetic diversity across all people on Earth, they find something unusual. We are remarkably similar. Compared to other great apes, chimpanzees living in a single forest in West Africa have more genetic variation than all 8 billion humans on Earth combined. This tells scientists something important. At some point in the past, the human population crashed. Hard. This is called a genetic bottleneck, and the evidence in our DNA suggests it was severe. Some researchers estimate the total human population fell to as few as 10,000 individuals on the entire planet. That is not a civilization in decline. That is a species on the edge of extinction. So how did they make it? Fire. Ancient humans had controlled fire for hundreds of thousands of years before Toba. In a volcanic winter, when temperatures dropped and plant life collapsed, fire became the difference between life and death. It provided warmth. It cooked food that would otherwise be inedible. It kept predators back in the long cold nights. Cooperation. Small tight bands of humans who trusted each other, who shared food, shared knowledge, shared the work of survival, had an advantage. Lone individuals died. Groups that fractured died. The ones who held together made it. And the coast. Some researchers believe the humans who survived did so partly by living near the coast. The ocean was not affected by the volcanic winter the same way the interior was. Shellfish, fish, marine mammals, food sources that kept producing when the land had nothing left to offer. Evidence from South Africa, caves along the coastline, shows continuous human occupation through this period. The sea may have saved us. And then something remarkable happened. On the other side of the bottleneck, after the volcanic winter began to lift, the survivors didn't just recover. They exploded. Within a few thousand years of Toba, evidence of something new begins appearing in the archaeological record: symbolic thinking, art, complex tools, long-distance trade networks, beads made from shells found hundreds of kilometers from the nearest coast. Ochre used to create pigment, to mark things, to communicate meaning. Some researchers call this the human revolution, the idea that the near-extinction event didn't just reduce us, it changed us. The pressure of survival at that scale may have accelerated the very traits that make us human: language, cooperation, abstract thought, culture. We came out of Toba different than we went in, and then we left Africa. Around 60,000 to 70,000 years ago, modern humans began moving out of Africa for the first time in significant numbers, crossing into the Middle East, into Asia, eventually into Europe, reaching Australia 50,000 years ago, the Americas 15,000 years ago. Every corner of the planet reached by the descendants of those few thousand survivors. Every person alive today is descended from those survivors, every single one. The scientist, the farmer, the child born this morning. All of us carry DNA that passed through that bottleneck. All of us are here because a small group of humans, cold, hungry, scattered across a darkened continent, held on. Your fears of the dark make more sense now. Your instinct to stay close to people you trust. Your discomfort with strangers. Your need for fire, for warmth, for shelter. These aren't quirks. They are the inheritance of survivors. The psychological software of people who made it through the worst thing that ever happened to our species. The volcano didn't know what it was doing. It wasn't targeting us. It was just geology, just pressure, just the planet doing what planets do. But it almost ended everything. Every song ever written, every story ever told, every person you have ever loved, almost didn't exist. Next time you feel small, remember that you are the result of an almost impossible survival. You are not just a person, you are the end of an unbroken chain, 300,000 years long. That passed through fire, through winter, through near extinction, and made it, not broken, ancient, and still here.